Good to see you all. I know I'm a nerd. It's good to see you. All right, today we are going to be reading your stories. So if you have a story, I'd like you to submit it. Now, I asked you guys in the video to, if you do not want to be named, that is fine. It can be anonymous. If you do and you're okay with having a name in there, I will say your name. It's totally up to you. What the heck? Having trouble connecting? What are you talking about? What the frick? Oh no, Emmy. Oh no. Kelsey's left her mark on this community, hasn't she? All right, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, a lot of our community are survivors, people who have been through hell. And unfortunately, we are a community of people who are striving to be better. And, sometimes our stories are a little bit hard. So when I got some of your emails, I definitely got emotional. So, I'm just going to read them as is. I'm excited to be able to share your stories. We have always been on this channel talked about, being a community, talking about resilience, talking about psychology. And I believe that, other people's resilience makes our lives better and helps us. So our first story, we've been asked to not use the name. So I'm going to read this email to you and I'm going to read it exactly as it is. So, do not use my name, please. 7-year-old female, married my high school sweetheart the day after I got my associate's degree. Worked to let him finish his PhD. Graduated May 31st, 1977. Got accepted by NASA. We had the world by the coat strings. He died in a motorcycle accident at the end of July. 2 kids. Well, somebody has to support this crew. I did all I ever knew. Put your boots on, tighten them tighter, and kept trucking. 2 years later, I held off at a year, sick child. Then I went to BYU, graduated, then on to med school, and then to MD residency. The day after finishing residency, my youngest was injured in an accident. I have a master's and a PhD. Both boys serve missions, both married in the temple. She has 10 grandkids, 3 married in temple. Unfortunate, 2 have been chosen not to be active. I pray daily they return. 1 has committed suicide. Retired in April 2025. I always loved quilting, regular patterns. About 12 to 13 years ago, I wanted to try a quilted picture. My elephant came to life. 8 years ago, to find the right fabric, and it hung in the Museum of Modern Art. I worked on a flower. Never could I get it to look real. Accident, changed the fabric, sold it. Now I try to reproduce the accident, and some come so close and some not so much. Working on brush strokes in a quilt. What do I do to stay out of trouble? Worked preparedness up down the I-25 in Colorado, 2 years. Every other weekend, another town, another church, another community center, 72-hour preparedness kits, food storage, and ready, set, go programs for evacuations. Asked to take an assignment in 2016. So many blessings in my life. I've seen so many miracles. If I said thank you 100 times a day until I died, it would not be enough. My life summed up in 3 sentences of an old song. I see the Lord talking to me. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll help you carry on. So that's our first story. As I know, we all have gone through a lot, and I appreciate you guys being vulnerable enough to share your stories. Our stories are of resilience, of us overcoming things, and that's what's so important. So I love being able to share your guys' stories. But it's all about how can we continue to go forward? How can we continue to work harder? Now, I know a lot of you have sent your emails to me before, so just know that if you'd like those emails read on these lives, I would need you to just send me a new email in the same thread saying that you're okay with these stories being read live, okay? Because I know a lot of you have sent your stories before. We get a lot of emails, and so I'd love to be able to know if you're okay with name sharing and making sure if we share your story that it is not just read. I want it to be respectful to you. It's your story. Okay. Here's our next one. Not very long, but I wanted to, this one I knew was going to be hard to get through for me. So, and just know when you send your story, it's something that I want you to know it's when you're ready, and your story of overcoming and being able to see what you've learned through your story is really important as well. And so I love to be able to have those conversations. And that's what our community is all about. So this email says, "Hi, Colby and Kelsey. I hope you are doing well. I do have a story. It's a story of a broken heart, mine. I lost two of my sons in 2018, 6 months apart, to fentanyl poisoning. Jordy was 24 and Jared was only 22. Jared had two little girls, 2 and 3 years old. I have raised them. I love them so much. We raised our children with so much love. Sometimes things happen in life and you either break or you fight to stay alive. That's why that's what I do daily. Losing your babies is the worst thing to happen to a human being. I'd love to share their stories sometimes if possible with you all. Love and hugs." Um, that's one of those things where it's hard to read through it. There's a lot of pain, a lot of people have suffered things, and a lot of you, unfortunately, we relate to each other, and we understand that. And thank you for being vulnerable. I know that's not their whole story, but being vulnerable enough to share what you've gone through. And thank you. And I know it's not easy. I know it's not easy. Yeah, I'm really grateful to do so. So we'll be on. I have one more for you. If you guys have any, if you want to send in your story before we get off the live, just let me know. It will be open to you. I will just make sure you let me know if you don't want your name or names said. This is the email, and you can give me your story. Okay. Okay, hold on, let me pull it up. Oh, I don't know if this one, I don't know if she said that this could be shared. Maybe this was just to tell me her story. So I'll have to follow up with her. I definitely don't want that to be the case. The reason why we're doing this, guys, is because our community is doing something very different on in YouTube. Not a lot of people in YouTube are talking about the ways to cope and learn how to deal with life. We're not just talking about loss. Of course, a lot of you have lost a lot of people you love, and I'm sorry. I understand it. And that's what we do, is to pick each other up. And some of us have really horrible stories in different ways, right? So it's like, I don't know what you've gone through. I don't know what you've experienced. And it's important that we know as a community that, the story that I have isn't the only one here. Yes, I tell you a lot about my story in hopes that you're able to know and learn and grow from my life experiences and the things that I've learned in my life. So I really always pray that that is there for you. Um, Again, if you I've told you in the video, if you guys didn't get a chance, when you guys share your stories, there could be an opportunity for us to do a little bit more like Zoom call stuff. If you're willing to go that route, what I'd like to do is make sure that people's stories are taken care of, that they are presented the right way, that they're presented for the family member that you love, or maybe even something that you have overcome. And that's why we are doing this. So I really hope that you guys see that your story matters as well. And you never know who you're going to be able to help in life. You never know who needs to hear your story, who relates to you exactly. And it's a really, really big deal. It makes me so mad when people mock mental health or don't take it seriously. It is not all in our heads for the person suffering from it. It's extremely real. I 100% agree with you. I know, and I think the people who really mock the idea of mental health, or like think you're being dramatic or whatever the case is, are either really numb in their lives and they just don't take their mental health seriously. They don't really, you know, I heard some things like where I have a really big disagreement with other people, which is fine. I have a different perspective. I remember watching an episode of Sean Ryan, and one of the guys was a World War II vet, and he kind of dismissed PTSD. He said we didn't have all that PTSD stuff back then, and I was like, okay, that's great. Like, luckily for you, you haven't had PTSD from when you went to war, but other people do have PTSD, and it affects their lives. And so to try to make it seem like someone else's problems aren't problems is a problem. And it's we've talked about this before. It's about being very realistic with yourself, not victimizing yourself more, but really learning and understanding your own story. And then when you're ready to share your story, you can give that hope and that glory to the story, right? Like when you share it, there's something powerful about that. You're passing light around the world. I really believe that. What's up, big dog? How you doing? That sounded like Joey. Me too. Me too. And it doesn't always go away, right? Like PTSD doesn't just disappear one day. You guys know my absolute most hated saying from anybody is time heals all wounds. I hate that. Stacy said, I'd love to share my story with you one day, Colby. I'd love that as well, Stacy. It is. Your mental health, your mental state is one of the most important things that there is. And when you guys share your stories and you're vulnerable and you talk about it, like, this is becoming bigger and bigger to me. We've talked about this before. Is sharing people's stories is what I feel like part of my life is. Yes, I share my story, but to help others learn how to tell their stories, how to be brave to tell your story when you're ready. And I know, luckily and gratefully, I've seen some of the effect of what I've been able to do as far as helping. And that's what I think it does, honestly. When people open up about this stuff, it helps other people because we're so much more similar than we think we are. And that's what matters is you think you're alone until you hear someone say it. And I believe this platform, YouTube, is the place where we can get this because it's a commonplace and people stumble on things and hopefully they get help and hopefully they see it and hopefully it helps them. That's all that matters. Alyssa says, I told my sister this morning that I was a part of the Warriors and how my support system has grown tenfold, which is helping me through what I'm going through now. That makes me feel good. I'm really glad, Alyssa. You do have a lot of support. Ashley says, good afternoon. I'm going out on a limb to say that it's not that PTSD, the other mental health issues did not exist back then, but is more widely recognized. Exactly. I agree with you. I think back then they didn't have the words to describe what they were going through. They didn't. They didn't have that mental health, research. It was kind of like you cut your knee, you spit on it, you rub your dirt in it. It's here's the thing. This is just logic, right? If you fall and cut your knee bad, and then you get up and you go and you freaking put some alcohol in there and then band-aid it up so it heals, and then you heal from it, how is that like soft? People act like that's the soft thing to do. That's the smart thing to do. It's the same thing with your mental health. If you are in a bad place, why would going and taking care of your mental health be a soft thing? Like people think, oh, therapy's for soft people, or therapy's this, or therapy's that. It's like, I think it's a logical way to deal with your problem, right? Your mental health and your physical health are pretty much the same thing. I don't like that idea of rub the dirt in it. Just pretending like you don't have a cut doesn't make the cut go away. You can pretend all day that that didn't happen. You can pretend that you're not bleeding out of your leg. That doesn't change anything. Colby, I told our attorneys about you and your channel through tears, telling your story. I'm so proud of what you're doing. Thank you so much. Oh, Kathy said, story has been sent. All right, Kathy, you ready? Let me see if I got it. I'll look. I don't see it yet. Oh, there it is. All right, Kathy, you ready? Wow. Very brave. Here we go. Kathy says, okay, if you use my name. Here we go. Kathy said, life is not defined by the battles you face, but how you rise from them. I am a 55-year-old woman, a military veteran, a mother, and someone who's learned to embrace her scars, both visible and invisible. As a signal intelligence analyst in the Army, I had the privilege of serving my country, learning Russian, and doing work that was both challenging and impactful. But like many, my life hasn't been a straight line. I've endured loss, trauma, and setbacks that could have broken me. Instead, I've come to believe that the comeback is always greater than the setback. I enlisted in the Army with a sense of purpose. I wanted to serve my country and make a difference, and I did so as a signal intelligence analyst. My role was to intercept and decipher communications, often in foreign languages. That's pretty dope, by the way, Kathy. One of which was Russian. I became proficient and I took pride in the work. But military life, especially intelligence, is fraught with challenges, many of which are hidden from public view. It was in the military that I became a survivor of SA. The trauma of that experience would follow me, carving deep scars, and it took years to acknowledge and heal from. Yet, despite the trauma, I found strength in my ability to move forward. I had to. My service was bigger than the pain that I carried. I kept going, focusing on the mission and the people I served with. But the emotional toll lingered, and like many veterans, I often found myself at odds with my own identity and complexities of military life. My life, already full of struggles, took another unexpected turn when I was 8.5 months pregnant with my daughter. I was in a terrible car accident. The physical pain was excruciating, but that's what made it even worse. But what made it even worse was the fear that I might lose my baby. I've been through so much already, and I thought the thought of losing her was unbearable. I don't know if I'm strong enough to freaking read these. Okay. The accident left me with a severely injured ankle requiring reconstructive surgery. It was May 12th, 1994, the day that I went under the knife, and the weight of uncertainty hung over me. Would I recover in time for my daughter's birth? Would my body ever feel whole again? Somehow, despite the challenges, she was born June 4th, 1994, healthy and strong. I remember holding her for the first time and feeling a sense of relief. I'm crying, bro, of joy, and nothing could have prepared me for. But my recovery was slow. Over the next several years, I would undergo multiple ankle surgeries, and the road to healing would be long and painful. In total, I've had 7 surgeries to date, including a total ankle replacement in March of 2023. Yet with each setback, I found my strength to keep going, even when my body felt like it might betray me. If life hadn't been hard enough, I was about to face one of the most terrifying moments of my life when my son was only 2 years old. He was in a car accident that nearly took his life. The ambulance ride to the hospital was one of the longest, most agonizing moments I can remember. He had a he had to be life flighted to a children's hospital in Tacoma, Washington. It felt like everything I had worked for was on the line. I was helpless, sitting in the waiting room, praying that my son would pull through. Okay, okay. Miraculously, he did, but the fear, the trauma, and the uncertainty that stayed with me for years. Yet somehow, motherhood, perhaps more than anything, has taught me how to be strong even when in my weakest moments. Raising my children through these experiences, I became more than just a mother. I became their protector, their anchor, and in doing so, I learned to protect myself as well. Gosh dang. But slowly, and it took time. I learned that healing wasn't linear. Love that, by the way. That's exactly right. Some days were better than others. Therapy became an anchor. Slowly, I learned that I didn't have to have all the answers to be strong. Love that, by the way. It's exactly right. It wasn't about perfection. It was about progress, accepting who I was, flaws and all, and learning to give myself grace. One of my proudest moments of my life came in 2005 when I reached my MBA while raising kids and working full time. My ex husband had been deployed to Iraq, and I was left to juggle responsibilities of being a single parent, holding down a job, and pursuing an advanced degree. There were times when I thought I couldn't even handle it all, but I did. Each paper submitted, Each exam I passed felt like a small victory in a long string of setbacks. That MBA wasn't just a degree, it was a testament to my resilience, to my ability to push through hard times, to show my kids that you can achieve anything. Even when the odds are stacked against you, it was one of the proudest moments of my life, not just for what I accomplished, but for what it represented: strength, determination, and the willingness to keep moving forward no matter what. In 2014, my family was rocked by the suicide of my nephew. It was a devastating loss that brought me face to face with the where I lost it. Sorry, I lost it. I'm sorry. In the first hand, how mental health struggles can spiral something we can always control. In 2015, another nephew was nearly killed in a shooting at Northern Arizona University. The fact that he survived was nothing short of a miracle. Both of those losses and near losses reshaped my perspective. I realized that life was precious, that my resilience wasn't just about surviving, it was about fighting for those we love, especially when we can't, the ones, I'm sorry, especially when they can't fight for themselves. The most recent chapter in my life has been marked by my total ankle replacement in March of 2023. It was a major procedure that marked another turning point in my journey. The recovery was grueling, but there was a sense of calm at this time. I knew how to face challenges. I had done it before and I could do it again. I've learned that I don't need to be perfect to be strong. I came to terms with the fact that my scars, both physical and emotional, are a part of who I am. I spent so much of my life trying to fix myself, but now I understand I don't need fixing. I am who I am, and that's enough. Looking back, I realized that every setback has led to a comeback. Life has tested me in ways I never expected, but each test has taught me something valuable. I am a survivor, not because I've never fallen, but because I've always gotten back up. That is what I want others to know. No matter the challenge, no matter the loss, no matter the pain, the comeback is always greater than the setback. So if you're reading this and you feel like you're at your lowest point, know you're not alone. You're stronger than you think. And each step forward, you'll find that you have everything you need to rise again. Kathy, let's give a little round of applause for Kathy, man. That was beautiful. I'm trying not to cry on your guys' emails, man. Whew. That was beautiful, Kathy. I love everything you said. Everything you said was right. Because you guys hear it from me all the time, but I'm glad that you understand from someone like Kathy, right? And and talking about what I love, the reason I love that so much is you said it's not about the perfection and it's not because I survived all this stuff. It's because I never quit. That's all it is. It's the effort of life. It's it. That's that's what makes you a survivor. I absolutely love that. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Exactly. That exactly. So you know exactly what that feeling is, Kathy. It's that idea that you're trying and striving so hard to be something, but you don't have to be perfect. There's no such thing. And trying to reach that is never going to make you happy. You're never going to be perfect, and that's okay. There's no such thing. All right, looks like we got more. All right. We're going to do another anonymous one. Okay. Here we go. Are you guys do you like when I read it? Because obviously if it is anonymous, I can't show it to you, but if you're okay with me just reading the emails, then we'll just read them off. I don't know if you're getting bored by just listening to me talk. I hope you're not. I really enjoy this right now. I had the most beautiful childhood until it wasn't. I was born in 1967 in Kent, UK, not far from London. Looking back, I was quite a strange child, incredibly shy, and I would hide beneath my mom's skirt if anyone as much looked at me. I wouldn't speak. I think nowadays it was labeled as selective mutism. The comfort and the protectiveness I received from my parents and older sisters was real and wonderful, and my dad was quite regimental, and my mom was soft and oozed love. Just before my 12th birthday, a monster started to groom me. Not that I knew what that was at that time. He would offer me to look at nasty magazines, and to which I pushed away. I knew this was wrong, probably because I had been warned about horrible men. He'd always pull me onto his lap at family gatherings. In front of a family, I would laugh and get my younger brother to help me up. I remember dreading his presence, but the person he was married to was like a sister, my childhood big sister, who was truly like my very own princess. Long blonde hair. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna say if I read this, it could easily trigger you guys. This is obviously, and I want that to be the case. If we go into this space, there's gonna be some really vulnerable things. So I don't want you guys who are. It could easily trigger different people in these, and I want to make sure that when we talk about this stuff, it is hard. I know that. So I'll start doing. If I'll read through it and say if there's trigger warnings, but these some of these survivor stories are going to be triggering for you guys. Okay. Okay, right here. I remember his presence, but the person he was married to, okay, we read that. Sorry. They are both 6 years older than me. They had just also had a baby boy who was the light of my life, and he was quite poorly as a tiny baby, spent months in the hospital. I would travel to visit him with my sister and my monster, only to realize I had to travel back with him alone. Although I thought very immature, 12 years old, if I told anyone my baby nephew wouldn't have a daddy. So I guess it worked out to keep quiet, lesser evil, compared to my nephew who was so poorly. I decided to only visit him in the hospital when my mom was with us. I thought I'd be safe, yet even my mom, present, would reach behind his seat trying to touch me. Again, at the time, I knew it was wrong, yet scared to tell. It was only of the recent years how I realized how cruel he was. At 13, I had long dark hair, which everyone loved, and I had to cut it off, hoping it would stop him. I stopped bathing, hoping that it would deter him. When it went on till I was 19. I had a boyfriend. He was the first person I told, and he told me not to babysit anymore. I couldn't tell my sister. I couldn't tell my sister, and they had had another baby now. What if I had stopped going there? My sister would want to know. One Friday evening, that exactly what happened. It all came out. I sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. She left me there and went to my house to tell my parents. You got it. I wasn't believed. Everything was swept under the carpet. Almost 40 years fast forward, my son told another family member how he hated his uncle. Out of the blue, my sister called me to confront him. I went to her house with my husband and asked him to tell the truth several times, and he denied it. I then said, "Are you even sorry?" And he said, "Yes, of course I am." That happened. I remember thinking, I'm believed. I will continue for next time of how things have affected me. Whew. It's going to be a lot of things like this when we do these stories, guys. There's going to be some things that are very very heavy, and just so you know, you can obviously do these anonymous, and I don't want you to think that you can't share your story without it. Okay. And when you send them, guys, remember, please say if you want to be anonymous or not, because I don't want to say your name if you'd like to be anonymous. I have another email, but I don't know if you'd like to be anonymous or not. I don't want to say your name if you don't want it said. And if you accidentally slip up and say someone's name in there and you ask to be anonymous, I will skip over that. Just so you guys know. And when you send the emails, please say, I would like this anonymous, or you can say everything. It is 100% your choice. And then what I mean is, some of you guys do want to share your story to get it out there. Like with Kathy saying, it's okay to use your story. Just know. Um, Again, though, I want to make sure that every time we do these, you know that this is survivor stories. These are people who are finally ready to have their story out there. And it matters to me that you have a voice, that you feel heard and loved, and that you know that there's not a judgment here. It's not to judge you or to expose you. It's to share your story so others can find strength in your story. And that's all. So you don't have to. Don't feel any type of pressure to send them. And I know a lot of you guys have very, very, very long stories. So you don't have to just minimize it just to have this. Take your time. This isn't going to be the only time that we do this. This isn't going to be the only time that we do one of these. Okay. I have another story here for you. This could be another trigger warning, just so you know. Um, but it's very honest about where she's at. So I was raised at home with a stay at home mom and an absent father. My mother became my first abuser in unsafe place. I was molested throughout the years with no one to tell. I became a young mom with two different abusers. Not knowing any different in life, I went to college and graduated as a paralegal and got away from all the abusers. I started to rebuild and met my amazing husband and his family. They have been in my family since day one. They were for me 5 years ago when I lost my youngest son to suicide and almost lost my life in 6 months. The onset of the nocturnal epilepsy. This epilepsy is brought on by too many TBIs and PTSD. Thankfully, my amazing husband happened to be home and saved my life so I can be here for my oldest son who just joined the military last year. The strength that you guys are showing and the vulnerability you're showing. Whew, it's heavy for me too. And as hard as this is, and in no way am I trying to make it seem like it's not hard, but look at what you're doing for others. You're helping other people. You are. And that's what this channel should always the heartbeat of this channel will be that. Thank you guys for sharing your stories. And it's not easy to say that stuff. I know that. Thank you. Love that, Tess. What a great community you guys are. Exactly. You never know who you're helping. You never know what your story can and could do. Absolutely. Yep. I feel you. And that's the thing, man. Like we talked about this before. Obviously, my life has been very public. And so I've tried to share what I can with you. But a lot of us have had hard lives, and the sharing part is taking back your narrative. And that's why we even said, reclaim your life. That's why I made that merch, because it just feels like as real as possible. Like reclaim your life, your story. And I posted a short the other day that was from Spider-Man, and it said, "Everyone's trying to tell me how my story is supposed to go," and they said, "No, I'm gonna do my own thing," because it's your story. It's your story. You're shaping it. You're the one that lives in your shoes, and when you do have that time to go and you have the strength and you're ready, when you're ready to share your side, you never know. You never know who you can help, man. You never know if someone's had the exact same experience as you, but they've never talked about it. Look how many times when there's a lot of abuse in your life, especially when you're young, you don't want to talk about it. It's just not something you talk about. And sometimes you just throw it on the back burner and you never want to acknowledge that it happened ever again. And it's just easier that way. And you just never want to get into it because it's just too hard to talk about. It's too hard to go back to that place when you were so young and vulnerable, and you just can't comprehend it. And so it causes so much more damage. But at the same time, there's a strength found in when you're able to go to that place and go through it. It's it allows that flood, that damn wall that you're holding, all that pain you're holding, allow it to finally release so you don't have the burden of that anymore. That's a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to do. It's just it's not easy, but it's not easy to share your story. So I want you guys to know that this is not our last time doing this. You have time to submit your stories. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and put at your heading my story. I'd like that to be the heading of each email if you submit one. I'll give you guys the email one more time because um I want there to be a separation from our other emails that come in. So when you send it, please, as your heading or your subject, say my story, and then you can say anonymous, even if you end up putting people's names. Like if you have a family member or somebody you love that you have said and you want it anonymous, I'll not say their name because I don't ever want that to be out there if you don't want it. Okay. I'm really glad. I know it's gonna be a heavy thing. I know that. I want you guys to know that this was Kelsey's thought. Kelsey thought this would be an amazing thing to do. And right as she said it, I agreed with her 100%. And, this was kind of the idea of doing this for the podcast. We were going to do podcast episodes, and I was going to read your guys' emails at the end of the podcasts. And I ended up realizing that the podcast should be more interviews and focused on that. So I've always still wanted to get back to your emails. That's never changed. But just know you have time. This isn't our last time doing this. You can submit your stories, and we will take our time to read through them because I want you guys to know that I'm not gonna just rush through your guys' story. Yeah, she is. This was her thought. This was her idea, and she she was saying you should really have allow everybody to have this place to also share their stories. And I was like, that's an amazing idea. So she's amazing. Kelsey's amazing, and she has an amazing story herself, and she walks around with that story and has never really had the ability to tell her story. And I hope you guys know that my passion in this world, almost above all, is helping people tell their stories, their real stories. That's what the Scar Wars podcast exists for. That's what I want to do with a media company. It's all about helping people tell their stories to the world, because that to me helps and saves other people's lives. You have no idea where someone is, and they're scrolling through YouTube and something pops up, and they watch it and they identify it. Oh, she'll get on here. She made one promise. You know what she said? She said, once you get to 100,000 subscribers, I'll do it. And I was like, okay. Well, I can't change that, but I want her to be on here. I love her. We obviously have little babies. We have a little baby. We have little kids, and she's holding down the fort in every other way. So she's constantly allowing this to exist and happen. And she's amazing. But she has a whole story that you guys have never heard, and it's hers. So I'm not, like I tell you all the time, I'm not going to tell you her story, but she has her whole story too. And it's just how you know that all of you are carrying around something that can help others. But I want you to know you want to be ready. It's not easy. You want to be ready to talk about that. So I love that, Lisa. I love that. And I think that's this Kelsey saying this embraces the reality of what this community is. The real core of what we do every day should be helping inspire each other and making sure that there is nothing but love and support and creating a safe environment. So you just have to take all that other internet stuff out, which is hard because it's not going to go away, but we try really hard to be that. Like 11,000 away from seeing Kelsey. I know. I've told her all the time, like I just wish like I don't think anything could be better than having Kelsey here. Except for she'd roast me the whole time. She would just destroy me. I can't even imagine the things that would come out of her mouth. But I'll tell you this. This is another big reason why I have a setup ready for her. Like we could do it. We could make it happen quicker than a hurry. So just saying, she could do it. I could make it happen. I saw a great comment right here. Where'd it go? Sorry. I read it, but it was kind of in passing. Dang it. I don't know where it went. Oh, here it is. Michelle said, that's what I meant the other day about how we don't really hear the survivor stories all about the villains. Exactly, right? Because you end up thinking to yourself always about the villains, and you do learn a lot. Let's be honest. Like psychologically, we learn a lot from the villains, the people who do stuff, but we also learn a lot from survivors, and that's what this whole channel is about. It's the survivors. But to understand the survivors, a lot of times you do have to talk about the villain because then you understand the surviving part. It's a full compass. It's a full story. That's the point. It's a full story. And I pray that our channel and community, as you guys are literally the fabric of our community, is you understand that we're trying to create something for the next generation too. I hope the next generation can somehow be, see that this is possible, because I do think that a lot of people who are a lot younger have a hard time dealing with their feelings. And I know that was me. Oh, see, look at Kelsey. She's not playing, bro. She'll do it. I'll get her own custom side on her side. And we'll both sit up here and talk. It'll say Kelsey Ryan and Colby Ryan. We'll do it. I promise you. I'm crying realizing the possibility this community has regarding the healing that can come. Look at what we have right here. Look at this group, man. So inspirational. So inspirational. This whole thing started because of bad experiences in media. This whole thing exists. Yeah, she does. You do pop off. You need to know it. You do. But you have your opinion. You're an opinionated person and you're intelligent. So you're going to say stuff, but sometimes you just have to learn what to not say in a certain way. That's it. But honestly, but I pop off too. You know that. Like I get mad and say stuff that if I weren't, reacting, it'd be different. But what was I saying, bro? Oh yeah, so media shaped me to want to have a channel because I was so sick and tired of being edited, and they just don't care about the survivor story as much as they care about the villain story. And it's unfortunate. And I'm really tired of that too. I'm tired of that narrative being more important. It's not more important. So we got a lot of things coming up for you guys. I hate to be another teaser again. You're not going to like me because I can't say it, but I do have a big, huge announcement for you. And I'm talking like realistically the biggest announcement I think we've ever had. So you know what, Kels, you'll have to make that announcement with me. It's just too important to not. But this announcement is the fabric of everything we've ever talked about. And I just can't say it without a It's almost there. That's what I'll tell you. But I promise you'll know. No, she's not. She wants to retire. I want to retire, but at the same time, we don't. I'm not, I promise you, this is the thing. I'm not someone who likes to tease things. I promise you. I'm not trying to draw out a tease or like make you think that there's something, but if until there's a few more things that need to happen, but it will be the biggest announcement I think we've ever made in the entirety of our channel, the entirety of this whole thing. And it goes along with what our community and channel is all about. And I can't wait for it. I genuinely like I don't know how to not say it, but I can't. I can't say it. I know, I'm sorry. I'm the worst. Kelsey gives me my Christmas presents before Christmas every year anyway. This is how we are. We always it's no, it's not a new channel. I promise you. It's not. We got two other channels that we're about to be putting work into coming into the next couple months. No, it's not a new channel. I promise. It's something that's actually been brewing for 6 years. How about that? There's your teaser. This is something that has been coming for a very long time. For a very long time. I know you guys hate me. I don't like to tease, but this I just can't say it yet. It's coming though. I know. Just trust me. It will be 1,000% worth it. But it's 6 years coming. 6 years in the making. That's my only hint, is that it's been brewing for 6 years. How about that? Oh, you're not playing. She wants Kelsey on here. I love it. Bigger than us? Yes. Yes. The biggest announcement I think will to this point will ever have made on this channel ever. It's a really, really big deal. But I'll tell you what, that the Christmas present early, that's Kelsey who gives the presents. I try to wait, and then I end up telling her. But it's coming, I promise. So, remember, if you're gonna send an email, all I ask is that you put the subject as my story, and that you say my story in your subject, and then just say I would like this to be anonymous, whatever you want to do. Kelsey and I have been talking about this, by the way, your surprise for a while. So, but I don't want you to think this is the last time. Saturdays, I'm going to try to dedicate time for us to do this, whether it's Saturday nights or Saturday in the middle of the day like this. It matters to me for you guys to be acknowledged and have your stories known. And I want to apologize to anybody. Kelsey did text me and say, remember, you have to say something about trigger warning. I'm sorry that I should have prefaced by saying this has certain triggers for you guys, because in no way, shape, or form do I want to just say something that could hurt you, because I care about you, and that really breaks my heart. So I don't ever want to do that. So I will be a little more careful, and I'll try to take my time and say, if I know what's inside the email, to make sure that it's known, so that way you can leave the video and come back if you'd like, just so you don't have any triggers, because I don't want that for any of our survivors who are going through something right now. But I have nothing but love in my heart for you guys, and I just want the best for you, and I want us all to heal and have better lives. So that's why we're doing this. And thank you to every single one of you that I read your story. You have blessed our chat, you've blessed our channel, and you've blessed other people by sharing. So thank you for that. But I'm grateful for our community. It's a beautiful place. Beautiful place we've created here. You know what? Give yourself a round of applause, man. Thank you, Kathy, for sharing your story, by the way. Seriously, thank you. But I love you guys. I'll keep you up to date on the community tab. Going into next week, be looking for another people's perspective. We have some stuff to touch on. We have some collabs coming up, and that big announcement might be sooner than you think. So just know, I always tell this to our mother frickin' ones, which by the way, mother frickin' ones, it's Saturday. You've got a live on channel updates. We're gonna probably do it in just a little bit from now. So I'll set that up for you on my phone because I'm never gonna try to do it on my computer again, and make sure you guys are set. But the mother frickin' ones live will be in a little bit, and I'm gonna give you guys a lot of the big updates too. So, but I love you, appreciate you. Be looking for a live on Monday, and we'll be back at it. Again, thank you guys for sharing your stories. And next Saturday, we'll be doing this again. So you have all week to get your story in. Love you guys.